Good morning, members of the media, our Brownsville community, and our staff. We are here to make an important announcement. We have Mayor Trey Mendez that is going to make the official announcement for today.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. We've seen news across the country. We've seen how other communities are responding to this, what is being called a pandemic and this coronavirus. Brownsville, being the largest city in the valley, feels like it should take the lead and be an example of how other communities work as well. Therefore, as of now, we are issuing a declaration of local disaster for public health emergency, and I'm going to read that. Whereas, beginning in December 2019, a novel coronavirus, now designated COVID-19, was detected in Wuhan City, Hubei Province, China, and has since spread throughout the world. And whereas symptoms of COVID-19 include fever, coughing, and shortness of breath, outcomes have ranged from mild to severe illness, and in some cases, the virus has caused death. And whereas, pursuant to the Texas Disaster Act of 1975, the mayor is designated as the Emergency Management Director for the city of Brownsville and may exercise the powers granted to the governor on an appropriate local scale. And whereas Section 418.108A of the Texas Government Code provides that the presiding officer of the governing body of a political subdivision may declare a state of local disaster. And whereas a declaration of local disaster and public health emergency includes the ability to reduce the possibility of exposure to disease, control the risk, promote health, compel persons to undergo additional health measures that prevent or control the spread of disease, including the provision of temporary housing or emergency shelters for persons misplaced or evacuated, and request assistance from the Governor of State Resources. And whereas by this declaration of disaster and public health emergency, I declare all rules and regulations that may inhibit or prevent prompt responses to this threat suspended for the duration of the incident. And whereas, pursuant to the authority granted to the mayor under the Texas Disaster Act of 1975, I authorize the use of all available resources of state government and political subdivisions to assist in the city's response to this situation. And whereas I, Trey Mendez, the mayor of the city of Brownsville, have determined that extraordinary and immediate measures must be taken to respond quickly, prevent and alleviate the suffering of people exposed to and those infected with the virus, as well as those that could potentially be impacted by COVID-19. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the City of Brownsville, Texas City Commission, that a local state of disaster for public health emergency is hereby declared for the City of Brownsville, Texas, pursuant to the Texas Disaster Act of 1975 and Section 418.108A of the Texas Government Code. Pursuant to Section 418.108B of the Government Code, the state of disaster and public health emergency shall continue for a period of not more than 7 days from the date of this declaration, unless continued or renewed by the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas. Pursuant to Section 418.108 of the Government Code, this declaration of a local state of emergency and public health emergency shall be given prompt and general publicity and shall be filed promptly with the City Secretary's office. Pursuant to Section 418.108D of the Government Code, this declaration activates the City of Brownsville Emergency Management Plan. Pursuant to Section 418.020C of the Government Code, this declaration authorizes the city to commandeer or use any private property, temporarily acquire, by lease or other means, sites required for temporary housing units or emergency shelters for evacuees subject to compensation requirements. Pursuant to Section 122.006 of the Health and Safety Code, this declaration authorizes the city to take any actions necessary to promote health and suppress disease, including quarantine and regulating hospitals, regulating ingress and egress from the city, and finding those who do not comply with the city's rules. This declaration of local disaster for public health emergency shall take effect immediately from and after its issuance, ordered this 17th day of March, 2020. And the City Secretary as well. Same thing, right? And this is the emergency management, part of the emergency management team that we have here. Will you introduce yourselves?
Orillar, City of Brownsville, EMC.
Jared Sheldon, City of Brownsville Fire Chief.
Arturo Rodriguez, Public Health Wellness Director. Good afternoon, Aloha Bernal, City Manager.
Felipe Romero, Public Information Officer for the Emergency Response Team.
And I think the important thing to keep in mind is, as of now, we have not had any confirmed cases of the virus. However, the testing has been minimal, and I think we need to proceed as though we do have active cases in our community. That's the way we need to act. Because if we don't act that way, we're not going to be prepared, and we're not going to be able to meet this. What we do not want to do, we do not want to overwhelm hospitals. We do not want our citizens to panic by hoarding essential items. There's not any issues with water. Our public water system is safe to drink. There's no issues with the water. Please keep in mind the elderly individuals in our community and those that are immunocompromised that need access to certain essential items. Please keep those people in mind when you're out there shopping or looking to protect yourself or your family. We do have another.
Yeah, go ahead and read the.
I do have a media advisory as well that I'll be reading, and this is going to be a little bit more detailed as to the measures that the city's taking and some of the other actions and requirements that we're instituting today. Dear Brownsville citizens, as our community, state, and nation grapple with the impact of COVID-19, I want to share with you how the City of Brownsville is responding to the changes demanded by public health best practices. At the city, our top priority is the health and safety of our community and our staff. There's no need to panic. However, there's a profound need to prepare. I urge all of you to think of your family, neighbors, and community. The elderly and individuals with chronic conditions such as heart disease, respiratory disorders, and diabetes are especially vulnerable. Because of this, we must act as a community to address the virus. Today, the City of Brownsville declared a state of emergency in response to the public health emergency. The lessons we are learning from communities across the nation and the globe is that aggressive measures implemented sooner rather than later help to protect our community and our community's most vulnerable members. Importantly, critical city services such as fire and police protection, sanitation, and water and wastewater services will not be disrupted. When you turn on your tap to fill a glass with fresh water, that water is and will remain drinkable. When you call first responders, they will respond. However, with the order passed as of a bit ago, the city is taking the following steps that will alter how we go about our daily lives. Effective March 18th, 2020, restaurants and bars shall be limited to 50% of occupancy in order to comply with social distancing. Delivery and takeout is strongly encouraged. Downtown city metered parking will be immediately suspended in order to support these measures. Parking areas within shopping areas are also strongly encouraged to create takeout and delivery designated parking spaces. Places of worship, movie theaters, and gymnasiums shall be limited to 50% of their occupancy and comply with social distancing. Private or community gatherings of individuals over 50 are banned until further notice. Community gatherings does not include spaces where 50 or more persons may be in transit, or buses, trains, or airplanes, or waiting for transit, such as airports, bus stops, or terminals. In addition, community gatherings does not include the following spaces where 50 or more persons may congregate, so long as visitors are generally within arm's length of one another for extended periods. Office space, grocery stores, shopping malls, movie theaters, hospitals, and medical offices and facilities. Bingo establishments are closed. Child and adult daycare centers, effective March 18th, tomorrow, shall be limited to 50 occupants, or 50% of their legal occupancy, whichever is lower. All schools are closed, effective immediately. All city libraries are closed, effective immediately. All City of Brownsville residents are strongly encouraged to use online services and drive-through services while doing business with the city. Brownsville Bus Service, B-Metro, will be implementing social distancing measures. The Brownsville South Padre Island Airport will limit access into the terminal building to ticketed passengers only. City events are canceled effectively on March 17, 2020, until further notice. General public and private community events are canceled effectively on March 17, 2020, until further notice. While the City Commission will continue to meet in person, we strongly encourage members of the public not to attend the meetings and instead watch proceedings on www.cob.us. Meetings of city advisory boards, commissions, and bureaus are canceled effective March 17, 2020, until further notice. The city manager will be working with city staff to implement a teleworking plan for employees. The city encourages members of the public to seek city services through the city's website or by telephone. Private events on city facilities are canceled effective March 17, 2020, until further notice. Fees and deposits for the facility rentals will be refunded or applied towards a rescheduled event. The peace officers, City of Brownsville health inspectors, code enforcement, ordinance officers, inspectors, traffic specialists, and Brownsville Fire Marshal are hereby authorized to enforce this order. A violation of this order is a Class C misdemeanor, punishable by a fine not to exceed $500 in accordance with the City of Brownsville Code of Ordinances, Chapter 1, Section 1.13, General Penalty. Unless otherwise stated, these measures shall be in place until March 24, 2020. I also want to reassure you that the city's leadership team is meeting daily and implementing the latest guidance from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, the Texas Department of State Health Services, and Cameron County Health Department to coordinate our community's response to the COVID-19 virus. We understand the profound social and economic impact that the changes outlined above will have on you, your family, and your local business. I urge you to continue to shop locally, tip service providers, such as delivery drivers, generously, and if you're able, donate to a local charity of your choice. Sincerely, Trey Mendez. Thank you so much. And one more thing, for the most up-to-date information on how the city is handling the rapidly changing circumstances, please visit our website at www.cob.us/2066/coronavirus-updates.
And at this point in time, we'll take questions from the media. Sir?
Rudy Mendez, Channel 5 News. You had mentioned some of the measures you're going to be taking for schools in the area. When you say schools, does that include the universities as well?
The universities, as of now, this order is in effect till March 24th. So the university, UTRGV, Texas Southmost College, and as of a little bit ago, BISD, have themselves extended their spring break for a week. So this is really in effect till March 24th, but it does include all schools.
I was just wondering because I know some of the employees are still gathering. Some of the employees are also still, in large groups going to the universities. So I was just trying to get clarification on that as well.
Okay. Well, what we're stating is that the schools themselves are closed. If they want to take any sort of other measure to speak with the city, we'll have to talk about that.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Alfredo Cuadros with KBEO. Any information on testing and testing kits here in Brownsville?
Chief?
As of right now, we're still working with Cameron County Public Health to get a more accurate answer on the testing kits provided in Brownsville. We're recommending that if people do have signs and symptoms or feel sick, that they call their local doctor instead of going to the hospital or going to their doctor's office. Call their local doctor for guidance, and the local physicians will guide them in the right direction.
And if I may add on to that, what we're trying to prevent overwhelming our hospital system with people that do not have the virus. So one thing that we've discussed with the hospitals as well is to screen individuals prior to their entry into the hospital itself. Testing kits as of now are still limited. That's a reality across the country. We have requested more testing kits. There's been some people that have been tested as of now. The ones that have come back with a result have all been negative. But like I said, I think it's prudent for us to act as if though we have people that have tested positive. That's the best way to approach this and the best way to be prepared.
Yeah, we're streaming this on Facebook right now. We have some people wondering, of course, about quarantine. Is there anyone quarantined now, or does this mean people should quarantine?
I didn't hear the last part.
Or does this mean people should quarantine? Like, does this declaration mean that?
The declaration speaks nothing of quarantine. I think the most prudent measure for anybody that may feel symptoms or be sick is to quarantine themselves. But as of now, the city has not issued any sort of quarantine notice or any sort of quarantine orders.
What do you say to the people of Brownsville who think this perhaps may be an overreaction, especially since there's no cases right now?
You know, they're in a situation like this, Alfredo, we have to take the safety of the entire public into account. There's going to be some people that are going to be upset. I understand that. There's going to be some people that feel that this is an overreaction. I guarantee you there's going to be people that feel like this is an underreaction. As elected officials and as leaders, we can only move forward with best practices, see how other cities have handled this, and see what's worked best. But in this position, we have to take the approach that's going to be best for our community and that's going to be safest for our community. Like I've told people, the virus itself, the mortality rate is low. However, what we're trying to do is, because we know that our hospital system may get overwhelmed, what we're trying to do is prevent the spread. So we're trying to limit people's contact with each other that may be infected or that may have been exposed to the virus.
Mayor, I'm going to read to you some questions that we have on our live stream.
Sure.
There's one question from a community member that is asking, will there be curfews?
As of now, the city has not implemented any sort of curfew. We'll monitor that. If we get information or we have data that shows that a curfew would be the best thing to do, we will certainly take that under consideration. But as of right now, no curfews.
Okay. There's another question in terms of, does this include the city of Omito?
That's a jurisdictional question. I personally can't answer. If there's anybody else that can answer that, by all means.
It'll fall under the Cameron County jurisdiction.
Omito is not part of our ETJ, it's not part of the corporate demarcations to the city, so no, it does not include Omito. However, I believe these are good directives, and I think everyone should consider those.
We have another question from a community member. How is the city collaborating with Cameron County or any other entity to maintain safety?
Yesterday, I had a conversation with Judge Trevino in regards to being consistent and taking measures that protect all of Cameron County. Obviously, my role is to protect the city of Brownsville and its citizens, and the county judge, Trevino, is doing the same for the county. We are corresponding. We're going to have there's going to be a press conference later today, I believe, at 2 p.m. But the judge and I, as well as the emergency management teams for both entities, are in communication, and we're trying to be as consistent as possible.
We have another question. If people are working from home, how will people in the community be able to contact the mayor or other city officials?
I'm always available through social media. I've seen some people commenting about calling my office. I don't know how they could do that because I don't have an actual physical office, but I'm always accessible through social media, either through Facebook, my Mayor Trey Mendez page, Instagram, same thing, or email trey.mendez@cob.us.
Dr. Rodriguez, would you like to add to that?
So we want to add, we also have the numbers that we've posted for frequently asked questions on our website. And we also have our call-in numbers that we are able to respond by email and by telephone. If people wish more details, we recommend the website because we're updating that daily.
When it comes to people with diabetes, is there any special precautions or anything people should be taking, especially since Brownsville does have?
I think, well, people with diabetes are on the list of people that are going to be most affected or most vulnerable to this virus. So just like people with chronic pulmonary disease or the elderly, they should take the highest precaution possible.
So residents are also able to register on Civic Ready. We go to the city website, www.cob.us. There is a link there that says notify me. If you click on that and you register, you must register in order to be notified. Any type of notifications going out, you can either get them via cell phone, as a call, a text, or an email. That's up to the resident's preference.
There's another question from a community member asking if small business owners would they have to close as well?
The directive to small business owners talks about certain businesses and capacity. So I think they should review the order and look at that carefully. Small businesses are not being asked to close, but we're just reducing capacity for the public safety.
Okay. What preventative measures are being taken for all travelers that are visiting South Padre Island for spring break through our airport? Is this something we should worry about?
Our airport director, Bryant Walker, is actually on a conference call right now, or maybe just got off. He'd probably have more information on that. However, as of now, our measures are to allow only ticketed passengers into the terminal. Our requests and what we're researching is whether we can screen those passengers that are coming from a place of origin that may be already diagnosed with coronavirus or that is going to be at maybe higher risk we're still looking into that, but that's definitely something that we want to look at.
Another citizen question, are there any confirmed cases here in Brownsville?
As of now, there has not been any confirmed cases. But like I keep saying, we need to act as though we do have confirmed cases. That's the best approach to this.
Quick question when it comes to the actual cases of coronavirus. If someone thinks they do have it, what do they do? What is the procedure they do here in Brownsville?
Chief?
So if someone feels they do have the symptoms, they're recommended, as long as they're not critically ill, to call their physician, call their doctor, or if they call us on one of our helplines, we can help guide them either to Cameron County Public Health. But we recommend that they don't go to the doctor, don't go to the hospital. Call them first, notify them, and get direction from them.
And we will be providing resources in Spanish as well as soon as possible to communicate to our Spanish-speaking community here in Brownsville.
Okay, anything else?
I know you guys mentioned it, but someone was asking about bars and in Brownsville, like operations at night, I'm guessing.
That was in the order. That was actually the first item. I'll go ahead and read it again. Effective March 18th, which is tomorrow, so it's a 24-hour heads up. Restaurants and bars shall be limited to 50% of occupancy in order to comply with social distancing.
You ask if you have any questions regarding the ordinance and the declaration, you can email communications@cob.us, communications@cob.us, and we will follow up with you as soon as possible.
And I will say also, in regards to bars specifically, there's other cities across the country that have decided to close bars or under certain circumstances. We're still looking into that as this evolves, and this is something, as y'all have seen, is changing almost by the hour. So as we get more information and we see that there may be a risk, we will consider that. But as of right now, our intent is starting tomorrow to go to half capacity.
I think it's important to add that our community and our employees, staff, and everyone, all citizens of Brownsville is our biggest, they're our biggest asset, and we want to make sure that, we're being proactive, and this whole campaign is about taking the lead. So again, we want to take your questions at communications@cob.us. We'll be pushing more information that has become available and provide resources as fast as possible.